The Clippers just lost to the Jazz in the first round of the playoffs, and the team as we know them may be over. The lineup that we've become familiar with could be splitting up. Chris Paul and Blake Griffin both have the option to end their contracts and not return to the team next year. JJ Reddick doesn't have a contract for next year at all. DeAndre will be a Clipper for the next year, but after that he has the option to leave as well. The only player that we would recognize that's guaranteed after next year is Jamal Crawford. It could be a transition period for the team. Either all these players could resign and continue attempting greatness in a Clippers uniform, or they could leave and pursue greatness elsewhere. Now as a fan, I'd like to think that the only thing that motivates these players is a championship, though I'm sane enough to know that's not true. There's obviously options that would be better financially for the players, and Los Angeles is probably one of the cooler places to play. But for the purposes of this video, pursuit of a championship is the only thing they should care about. So what's the smart thing to do? DeAndre Jordan has been on the team the longest of the group. He started on the team as a rookie in 2008. He came extremely close to going to the Mavericks in 2015, but has remained with the Clippers his entire career. Blake has never played for a different team as well. He started in 2010 on the team after missing what should have been his rookie season the year before. It was a knee injury that kept him from playing. Then 1 year later in 2011, Chris Paul came over from the Hornets after a string of unsuccessful seasons. JJ Reddick didn't join the team for a couple years yet, but I consider this the start of what I guess I would call the Clippers' Big Three. Which means this unit has now completed 6 NBA seasons together. How'd these 6 seasons go for them? Well, it's hard to say. Their first season together was the lockout season, so it was shortened. They won 40 wins out of 66 games, and ended in the second round of the playoffs. The next season they started some ridiculous season consistency, winning 56 wins, but losing in the first round. Their third year together was 57 wins, and lasted until the second round. Fourth year as a team, they ended with 56 wins and lost in the second round again. 3 straight years within 1 win, no improvement, but no decline either. The fifth year as a team, they went down a little, to 53 wins, and couldn't pass the first round. Their recent season was a little lower yet, with 51 wins, and not passing the first round yet again. They've given this experiment a try, and it's failed time and time again. They've been together for 6 years and haven't gotten a championship, or even come close for that matter. Forget the finals, they've never even made it to the third round. How could a team that's failed so many times expect to do any better without making changes? But what's the problem with the team? I doubt the problems with the point guard. Chris Paul is easily in the top 5 in his position. Blake Griffin is great as well. I can't imagine he's the piece holding the team back. You can make an argument that the issue is DeAndre Jordan, but I'm not too sure the argument would be very strong. He certainly has some flaws.
You don't have your A game offensively, but they've gotten better. Whoa. Whoa, hold on a minute. Did they just open the doors in a building? Can we get a replay on that in the truck? I gotta see that free throw again.
But I would still be happy to have him as the center on my team. He's always among the top of the league in slam dunks, rebounds, field goal percentage, everything you want out of a center. JJ Reddick isn't a superstar, but he's one of the best shooters out there, and it's hard to complain about him too much as a shooting guard. And they always seem to keep solid players around their main players. You could do worse than Paul Pierce, Jamal Crawford, and Austin Rivers. Jamal is multiple 6th man of the year. The team has one of the better players in almost every position, so what's the issue? Is it the coach? I would find that hard to believe. They have one of the best coaches around as well. The core of the team has been together for years, and the team chemistry is probably as good as it's going to get. Not that there's anything terrible about it. Maybe they're falling victim to the fact that the West is so strong. They can't make it deep into the playoffs because teams like Golden State are just too good, and it's near impossible to compete with them. I don't think this is it either. For one, Golden State hasn't been what they are today for the past 6 years. Also, look at the teams that have eliminated the Clippers in those 6 years. None of these teams went to the finals. They're not even getting beaten by the best. It's hard to fall back on that strong Western Conference argument. Injuries could be a good way to explain the failures. Blake is injured this year. Blake and Chris were injured last year in the playoffs. but it's hard to justify 6 years of playoff failures with injuries. And if that's true, then the players are just too susceptible to injuries, and would be a huge risk to any team. But I'm not seeing it in this way. The Clippers have undoubtedly had some bad luck, but one would think there's something deeper than that. Honestly, I don't know what it is. Looking at everything, I would think they would have had more success over the years. Looking at the players on the roster, looking at the stats, looking at them play, I would expect the team to do better. But the truth is, the experiment hasn't been a complete failure. Everyone remember when the Clippers were just awful every year? They were the joke of the NBA. And I'm talking about for 30 plus years. They had multiple seasons with wins in the teens, and when they had a good season, they would win maybe 45 games? And that was exceptional for Clipper standards. The Lakers were basically always overshadowing the Clippers as the best team in Los Angeles. Now we're in a time when the Clippers are the much better team every year. It was this unit that helped get the Clippers out of that terrible streak and bring a little respect to the Clipper name. They haven't gotten a championship, but they have put together the best years the Clippers have ever had. But the question remains, should the Clippers keep trying to make it work, or should they split apart? The answer depends on what your ultimate goal is. If the goal is to win a championship, I don't think it's going to happen for them. They've had so many chances, and I don't see much past evidence to point to make me think that they're a legitimate championship contender. 6 attempts is enough to realize when something just isn't working for whatever reason. Now, if the goal is to remain relevant in the NBA as a team and as an individual, this could be an attractive outcome. Honestly, for all these players, where do they expect to go where they would have a good chance at a championship anyway? In the next couple years, it's unlikely for any team except Golden State, Cleveland, or the Spurs. And if one of the Clippers just latches on to one of those teams, the championship somehow feels less earned and you end up with a Kevin Durant scenario. Teams like the Bucks or the Trailblazers may be contenders in the future, so going to an emerging team like that would probably be the best chance of getting a championship. None of the Clippers have asked for my advice of what to do just yet, but I'm going to lay it out for them right here so I could refer them to the video when they do call. Chris, Blake, JJ, if you're content with probably not winning a championship, but just want to play for an above average team that you're familiar with, stay on the Clippers. If you want to push yourself and take a risk that may pay off in the form of a championship, scope out an up and coming team and join them. DeAndre, hope you're watching this in the summer of 2018 because the same advice goes to you. The biggest report as of now is that Chris Paul is likely to return to the team, but Blake may not. To me, this just says that Chris Paul doesn't care about a championship too much, especially since it looks very unlikely if Blake leaves the team. But I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt and hoping his motivations are in the right place. I'm interested to see what happens to the Clippers. At this point, they've all been together for so long, it'd be strange to see it any other way. Let me know in the comments what you think will happen to the team, and what you want to happen to the team. Where do you see Chris and Blake and JJ playing next year? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Thank you for watching. If you like this video and want to see more in a similar style, be sure to subscribe by clicking the logo so you know when I upload a new one.